Hello friends. In the previous classes, we are studied or I has explained about the topic on the lycopodium that continue with today's classes, that is a Selaginella. This is a one class of pteridophytes, that is a Selaginellaceae, that consists of the group that's a Selaginella. Selaginella is commonly known as spike moss. So in the today's class we will discuss the introduction, classification, occurrence and reproduction biology of the Selaginella. General classification of this Selaginella. The Selaginella includes the mainly the family Selaginellaceae, and they consist of two genera, that is the Selaginella and Selaginellids of the living fossil. Generally they refer as living bodies, and they mainly the sporophyte is herbaceous. Usually they lack the secondary thickenings. The leaves are microphyllous and ligulate, and roots are born at the distal end of the leaflets, and that's called as a usually the rhizophores. This is a very important characteristic of the Selaginellaceae. That's the rhizophores are commonly present in Selaginella, and usually the sporophytes are aggregated to form a strobilus like structure. And usually the main important characteristic of Selaginellaceae is to heterosporous habitat. That means they produce the two types of spores. Homosporous means only one type, that's a lycopodium produces only one type of spores, but in case of Selaginella they produce two different kinds of spores. That's why it's called as a heterosporous, and usually they produce a male and female gametes, and later that will form the zygote and the life cycle will be takes place. That's a general characteristic of the Selaginella. Coming to the classification, the division Pteridophyta, subdivision Lycopsida, order Selaginelles, family Selaginellaceae, and the example is Selaginella. There are different types of Selaginella species are occurs in India. So coming to the diversity and distribution habitat of this Selaginella, there are about 700 species of Selaginella are present in the worldwide. They are cosmopolitan in distribution, and usually the commonly the Selaginella are known as a spike moss or club moss. So, and the important species of Selaginella, they grow in the tropical and subtropical regions. The important species are the Selaginella densa, Selaginella reptans, and Selaginella lepidophylla. So like that. So sometimes even the some of the Selaginella grow in xerophytic, because usually Selaginella grow in moist shady conditions. They require the moisture for their habitat. Sometimes they may be a grow in xerophytic and also the epiphytic. That Selaginella varingana, that's actually the epiphytic, commonly grow in a rain forest. And several other species of the Selaginella especially grown for the ornamental purpose. That is a Selaginella lepidophylla and Selaginella pilifera. They grow as a ornamental plant because they clumpy growing of their habitat. And usually important characteristic of this Selaginella, when they get dry condition, they will be generally completely dry off. So if you put the water, generally naturally it regains. So generally that's why the Selaginella is referred as Sanjeevani, because of the resaccharation characteristic of this plant. That is when if the not great or dry, then generally what happens, the completely dry off. So if the water is got, it will be rejuvenate. Okay, so that's why the Selaginella is called as a Sanjeevani. The important species in India, there are about 70 species of Selaginella in India. The important one are Selaginella monosora, Selaginella biformis, Selaginella reptilis, megaphylla. So like that the various species are there. This is the photograph showing the Selaginella, that is a microsporophyll. At the tip they will find the sporophyll region and the main stem and the small leaf. So this is how the leaf arrangement did the natural habitat of the Selaginella. So this is how the resurbanation condition, the when they young or the when they did not get the water, that time they may get the complete treatment. This is the Selaginella wildonmi, this is Selaginella varangana, and this is the Selaginella emolens, and this is the Selaginella roxburghii, and this is the Selaginella begonviae. So like that, the various Selaginella are there. Coming to the other characteristic, that's a morphological characteristic. The plant body is called as a sporophyte, and they have the various shapes and the structure. There are about some of the Selaginella are flat, creepy in nature. Some of them are suberect, and even sometimes the epiphytic they may be a pendulous in nature. But all of them consist of the rhizophore for the supporting nature. Some of them are usually these are annual one, but some of them are perennial also, just like Selaginella pygmy and Selaginella graciliana. They are the annual ones. The sporophyte are few centimeters, that is they varies from 20 centimeter to in length, and usually this is the Selaginella cruziana. So that's a common, and this is Selaginella erythropyrus, that's a red color of the characteristic indication. So usually this is Selaginella elegans, and this is the Selaginella wildoniae. So like that, the various species of Selaginella are there, and the important characters, that is a homophyllum and the heterophyllum. The homo means uniform structure of the plant body. Hetero means differentiated structure. That's a homophyllum. The species belong to this subgenus. They have the erect dichotomously branched leaves are isophilous. That is a uniform and spirally arranged, and there are about 50 subgenera are present in Homophilus. And heterophyllum, the most of the species are Selaginella belong to this heterophyllum. So usually they usually have the prostate and dorsiventral stem and the erect branching. The branching is always irregular in case of the heterophyllum. The foliate leaves are arranged on a vertical rows on the stem. Two dorsal rows have the small leaves, and the ventral rows have the larger leaves. That's example Lycopodium, Lepidopsis are the some example for that. The sporophyte plant body of Selaginella is differentiated root stem leaves. Beside the some other one important structure, that's a rhizophore. What I earlier told, that rhizophore is look like a root, but it is not the root. Primary root are epimeral, and adult plant have the adventitious root, and most of them are creasing and dorsiventral in nature. So usually the species like Selaginella reptans and Selaginella, they are arising at the point of dichotomously as well as other in positions, and usually roots are endogenous and dichotomous branching. So this is how actually shows the root structure. And then rhizophore, this is what I am explaining. It's a very important characteristic, that's a rhizophore, and usually they are cylindrical, branched and leafless structure rising from the lower side of the stem portion, and they are dichotomous in nature. They are growing vertically downwards, that's important. From the stem region they will grow vertically downwards and consist of the small roots. The usually morphologically the rhizophore is unusual in position. Sometime maybe at the base and sometime maybe other positions. So like that they will be arranging. Usually some of them are says that they are geotropic. Their genus bears the leaves, and internal structure of the rhizophore similar to that of the rhizophore. In case of the, if it is root like structure, if it is stem, and it's also varies in structure. These are some persons have explained about the rhizophores. So usually the stem is erect, dichotomously branched, and usually some of genera were actually homophilous. Some of them are heterophyllum nature. That time the stem branching is suberect with lateral branching. And coming to the leaf structure, so very important, they have the microphilous and the megaspilous leaf will be there, and usually the leaves are microphilous, sessile and simple in nature. They may be shapes is varies, ovate or lanceolate chimper, and leaves as the single midvein, that is remain unbranched, and usually most of the species have the thin soft leaves, but they are xerophytic species of the thick leaves. And vegetative leaf as well as sporophylla have the small membranous structure and in the adaxial surface, that's the upper surface, and close at the base. The small projections will be there at the base of the leaves. They are called as ligules, and usually they have the distinct hemispherical foot-like structure will be there, and they are the glossopodium structure. So in the figure itself, what you are looking, the upper thin tongue-like structure, that is called as a ligule structure, and the base region have the thick bulged region, that is called as a glossopodium. It is compact and have the tuber walls. So this is the structure of the ligule and the tip region. So ligules, the where actual ligule is attached, that is called as a ligule pit. Sometimes they call as also secretory structures, and they are overgrowth sporangium will be there. And this is the structure of the ligule, and various theories has to put for the explain the Selaginella structure. So this is about the morphology, habit, diversity, classification, and general characteristic of the Selaginella. I hope you will get the points. So in the next video we will discuss the anatomy of the Selaginella.